The Dershow.
I know of nobody who's been protesting Israel who called for a two-state solution. Why? Because they don't want a Palestinian state. They just want there not to be an Israel. That's their goal. They don't want a two-state solution. I challenge any one of these protesters to call for a two-state solution. If they did, they'd be thrown out of the protests because these protests have to pass muster with Hamas. If Hamas disapproves, then they're not going to get the support, and Hamas disapproves of the two-state solution. Now, you might say, but there's a boss. There's the head of the Palestinian Authority. See what he said yesterday? He justified October 7th. He praised Hamas for producing October 7th. That changed the dynamics in the Middle East for the better and all that kind of thing. That's Israel's peace partner, somebody who praises a mini Holocaust against innocent Jews. That's the situation Israel is facing. So nobody should ever confuse pro-Palestinianism. I'm pro-Palestine. I want there to be a Palestinian state living at peace side by side with a vibrant Israeli state. Yes, I'm pro-Palestinian, I'm pro-Israel. But nobody on the other side is pro-Palestinian. They're just anti-Israel. If they were pro-Palestinian, they'd be anti-Hamas. Hamas is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Palestinian people. The only reason so many Palestinians have been killed, and we'll get the true number only when the war is over, it'll be much less than the numbers we've been fed by Hamas. My suspicion is that probably the total number of people killed is something like 40,000, not 53,000, and more than half of them are combatants. And of the remaining, more than half of those are semi-combatants, people who have used their homes to store rockets. There have been probably 10,000 purely innocent people, probably a few hundred babies and children, maybe a little bit more. But the only reason there are any babies or children who have been killed is they were killed by Hamas. They were used as human shields. Don't take my word for this. Take the word of Hamas leaders who have bragged about the fact we use our children and our women as shaheeds, as martyrs, as human shields. That's Hamas's claim, not my claim. Every time a civilian dies, a Palestinian civilian dies, Hamas cheers because it can blame it on Israel. So this is not a gray area. This is black and white. This is simple. There could have been a Palestinian state in 1938, 1947, 1948, 1967, 2000, 2001, 2005, 2007. Every time they've been offered a state, they've turned it down. That's the Palestinian leadership. I know I've met with Abbas more than once. And I know what his views are. And I know what the views are of the people around him. So don't get taken in by this. Idiots like Greta Thunberg, who probably wouldn't even know what river and what sea she was talking about, or what an intifada means. Intifada means murdering innocent people. The intifada of 2000. Remember, the intifada of 2000 followed Bill Clinton and Ehud Barak offering the Palestinians a state more than 100% of what they now had, 96% of the West Bank, 4% of Israel, capital Jerusalem, a right of return for several thousand people, and normalization. And Arafat first suggested maybe that would be possible, and then he really screwed Bill Clinton, who told me this personally, and changed his mind at the last minute, saying he would be killed if he accepted a Palestinian state. And he's probably right. The king of Jordan's great grandfather was killed when he thought about a two-state solution. Anwar Sadat was killed. And so Arafat, cared more about his own safety than he did about the rights and future of the Palestinian people. So he turned down what Bill Clinton said was the best offer anybody's ever gotten. And Bill Clinton said, when you turn down an offer like that, don't expect to get it again. And don't expect to have the claim that you're occupied. You're not occupied. If you had a chance to have a state and a chance to end the occupation, and you said no because your leader was afraid, that's not an occupation. That's just the status quo, because they could have changed the status quo, but they didn't.